Okay, this video is going to be covering through-hole soldering. So this is a little example board. It's got a bunch of holes that are plated. They're called plated through holes. So all the way through the board, you can see there's metal in all of that in that hole. So that is plated all the way through. So I'm going to be talking about how we solder in some wires. First thing you're going to do is strip off a little bit of the wire, just like that. And we're going to twist it just a little bit to make sure there's no frayed edges on there. And I'm going to take a little bit of this flux and dip the wire in it. Doesn't need to be a lot, just enough so there's a little bit on the wire. You can see there's just a smidge on there. That's all you need. Flux helps solder flow a little bit. I'm going to put that there in the helping hands. Wow, we have so many hands here, might as well use them all. Okay, so I have my wires. I had already heated up my soldering iron to 400 degrees, which is okay for this. And every time before you use the iron, you want to clean it off in the little steel wool here. That just makes the tip all nice and shiny, makes it conduct heat a little bit better. And get some solder. And I'm going to put the wire through the hole. There we go. So now both wires are going through the holes. Put one helping hand on there to hold that. And since we have them all, I'm going to take another hand and have it hold the wire. So now the wire is held in place. It's all the way flush against the board. The insulation is, and that's what we want. So now I'm going to clean the tip off. That makes it all nice and shiny, helps it conduct heat a little bit better. And then I'm going to put a little bit of solder on the iron on one side and touch it to the right side of the wire, and then flow in the solder from the left. That's all it takes. Let's zoom in a little bit. There we go. And now you can kind of see that the tip is all grungy again. We're going to clean it off one more time. Again, put a little bit of solder on the iron because that helps it conduct heat better. Put it on one side of the wire, kind of touching the pad, and then flow in the solder. And that's all it takes. So now we can inspect it a little bit. You can see those are nice and shiny. That's what we want. If it looks kind of dull, you have a cold joint and they tend to break. So now that those are in there, actually we can fix this a little bit. Put a little bit of heat on the wire and push the insulation up. There we go. That was just a little bit of excess there. So those are all the way up against the board, nice and tight. And then I'm going to come in with the snips and snip it short, because the wire doesn't need to be that long anymore. So that's there, but now you have a little bit of that flux residue on there, and we don't really want that because it gets all sticky and it gets all over the place. So I'm going to take a little cup and put some rubbing alcohol in it. Take a clean brush, dip it in there, kind of cover it a little bit, And then I'm going to come back with a clean paper towel and put it on top. And then just scrub and scrub. And then move it to a different place. And what the paper towel does is wick the flux away from the board. It kind of pulls it away. And you can't really see it, but there's little yellow stains in here. That's the flux. And now when we look at it again closely, it's pretty clean. A little bit of moisture from the water in the isopropyl, but it's a lot better. It's not going to be sticky all over your hands when you touch it. Now, what do you need to do to take it out? If you need to replace this wire or something, you come in with your snips, real flush. Snip that off. Snip that off. So you want it to be fairly close to the board. And then we're going to come around to this side and snip the wire off here and over here. So now I can take this wire out. So now I'm left with just a little bit of metal and a little bit of stuff on that side. So I'm going to take this, it's called a solder sucker. Let me open this up a little bit. This guy. And you push that down, and then when you push the button, it pulls a vacuum on this side, and it'll suck all the stuff out. So I'm going to orient this board vertical. Move that over there. I'm going to clean the soldering iron again. And put some solder on the ends, because that helps it conduct the heat better. Now you have to do this kind of quickly. You want the solder sucker to be lined up, and then you heat up that pad and pull the trigger. And now we have a nice clean hole, nothing on either side. We're going to do that again. Get that ready. Heat that up. There we go. And I didn't do a great job on that one. So we're going to do it one more time, but we're actually going to let this cool a little bit, because if you put too much heat into a board like this, it will rip it'll delaminate, it'll rip the little pads off of the board, and we don't want that. Because if that happens, your board's kind of ruined. There we go. So nice clean holes, pads are still there, and you're ready to put in a new wire.